Let's start off now. The African Union has dismissed criticisms that it is a laid-back body that has failed to deal with pressing electoral challenges confronting the continent. Director of Political Affairs at the African Union, Dr. Kabele Matlosa, insists the union has done fairly well in helping reduce electoral violence and is asking critics of the union to come up with alternative ways of making the union more effective. He spoke to Joy News on the sidelines of the Third Continental Election Management Bodies Forum here in Accra.
I totally disagree, but I will not say that we're a perfect organization, but I disagree that it can be perceived as a lame duck. It can be perceived as a lame duck or a toothless bulldog. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. Let's look at
people beside Zimbabwe, Uganda, where you have leaders perpetuating themselves in power with the AU just watching on.
No, the AU has a very strong normative framework on constitutional amendments.
The Continental Election Management Bodies Forum is a platform set up by the African Union to bring electoral managers across the continent together to share ideas and best practices on holding free and fair polls. Director of Political Affairs at the African Union, Dr. Kabele Matlosa, said Ghana's electoral record was an enviable one that needed to be emulated.
This is the first lesson. All contestants should abide by a code of conduct that commits them to accept the results of credible, transparent and democratic elections. This is exactly what happened in Ghana in 2008, when the margin of victory was as thin as around 10,000 votes in a small town of the country. Secondly, all national stakeholders should resort to the established courts of law in case of existing electoral disputes. This is also what happened with the recent Ghanaian election of 2012, if I recall, which was marked by some dispute relating to biometric voter registration.
Foreign Affairs Minister Hannah Tete paid a glimmering tribute to the immediate past chairman of Ghana's Electoral Commission, Dr. Farijan, whose efforts, she said, has made Ghana a shining example on the continent.
I'd also like to pay tribute to our immediate past chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Farijan, whose personal efforts, I understand, have kept the organization active until now. I'm sure that now that he's in retirement, he'll find even more time for the organization. And perhaps it can be his next vocation, his way of passing on his knowledge and experience to other election authorities in Africa.
Meanwhile, Dr. Kabele Matlosa says the union is keeping an eye on the Burundian elections.
Now let's do some politics. The Appeals Committee of the opposition New Patriotic Party has cleared 8 more constituencies to go ahead with their parliamentary primaries this weekend. The election of parliamentary candidates in 13 constituencies were suspended following petitions against some of the candidates. But the elections will now go ahead in the Klote, Kole, Tema West, Tema Central, Obom Domeabra, Okaikwe South, Kintampo North, Dwabing and Kwesimintim constituencies. Director of Elections for the NPP, Martin A.J. Mensah-Kosa, says measures have been put in place to manage the challenges that rocked the recent polls.
And by their decision, these constituencies are cleared to go. For me, it only then suggests that the issues have been resolved, hence their participation in the election. This election is like any public election. It's under the aegis of the Public Election Regulation, that's CI 75. And under the CI 75, which governs all public elections, that's exactly what we're doing here. The only exception is that this election starts from 8 and ends at 3 p.m. But we observe all the rules in every election. Delegates, when they turn up at the centers, are supposed to be identified. If there is any further item to aid that identity, the election officers will make it known. We don't expect people to get to the voting area and be partisan or show support for contesting candidates. We don't again expect that people will display their ballot decisions on their ballots after they've made them or attempt to take photographs, as has been alleged in the past. This election is a first past the post. What it means is that even if an individual or a candidate were to win by just 1 vote, it's a win, and that concludes the election.
Well, Martin J. Mensah-Kosa is saying also that the constituency election committees in these constituencies have been asked to liaise with the respective district directors of the Electoral Commission for the conduct of the polls. Let's move on to power issues. Now, the Water Wave Authority has described as realistic assurances by government to end the country's energy crisis by the end of the year. It cites 2 thermal plants in Tema and Kpong here in the Greater Accra region, which it says should add some 250 megawatts to the national grid by November this year. Joy News' editor Israel Lai joined the tour of the upcoming plant as well as their Konsombo Dam, where authorities say the decline in water level is slowing down.
Engineers were installing components of the Siemens plant when the team of journalists visited. Officials explained the first phase of the project should add 38 megawatts by November this year.
We started the project installation in February 2015. And this phase is the phase 2A. And this one is supposed to give us an installed capacity of 38 megawatts. And we're expected to complete the installation by November, do a commercial operation date in ending of November.
The much bigger Kpong thermal plant is also expected to add 220 megawatts before the end of the year.
I've been on it for the last 2.5 years. We are now in the advanced stage of the completion of this project. The entire plant is mechanical erection is complete. And we are currently doing tests on the machine to be able to commission it.
Both plants can be powered with either gas or the more expensive diesel. With a shortfall in electricity generation averaging at about 600 megawatts, the 2 plants, along with the car power barges expected in September, should significantly reduce the deficit.
We have everything to be happy, about for these 2 projects coming on stream. It will come and reduce the big deficit that we already have and help us improve the situation as we move towards the end of the year.
Put this additional generation that's coming in into the overall picture of the supply challenges we're having and how to resolve Dumso. How do you see that happening?
I see it happening because every additional megawatt we have helps to eliminate the deficit or reduce it and then eventually eliminate it. I see it happening because looking at the deficit we have, these projects come up and the other, gas is flowing, Akosombo water level improves, and we get the other turbines running in Akosombo. Then I see the deficit being removed and possibly some surplus, or if you like, some surplus, or what we technically call reserve, will be available.
So will it happen? If it happens, then we're fine. If it doesn't happen, then we are going to have to endure this a bit more. But the Power Minister knows what's available, and so because of that, he believes that we can get or cross this bridge by the end of the year. So let's just hope this happens, and then we'll all be fine, and we can kiss Dumso goodbye.
Israel there with that report. Now, the African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has commended government over measures being explored to end the energy crisis that has befallen the nation. In a statement on the supplementary budget presented to Parliament by the Finance Minister on Tuesday, ACEP said it has taken notice of the various efforts being made by the Mahama-led administration to resolve the power crisis. ACEP, however, notes that value for money has not been considered in the various power options being explored by government. ACEP therefore believes in the short term about 2,300 megawatts of generation capacity will be available for operation. It concludes that this no doubt will end the power crisis when these projects are realized, but this is not without a huge cost to the state. Now let's go to Parliament because it is considering the Immigration Service Bill 2015, which when passed will empower personnel of the service to wield weapons for their operations. Elton Brobe has more from Parliament today.
The Immigration Service Bill is being pushed by the Interior Ministry. According to the ministry, personnel of the service are exposed to great harm when discharging their duties without weapons. The bill also seeks to upgrade ranks in the service. Deputy Interior Minister James Agaga, who moved the motion, said the bill is crucial to the service.
One other important addition the bill seeks to provide for is the arming or the carrying of arms by the Border Patrol Unit, a function the Ghana Immigration Service has assumed over the years. Right, Honourable Speaker, it is hard to bring to the attention of the House that even though the Border Patrol function is now entrusted in the hands of our servicemen at the various borders, they are not allowed to wield arms under the existing legislation. It is therefore imperative that for them to be able to effectively discharge that mandate, they are made to wield weapons. They are the first line of defense, and therefore we cannot but ensure that they wield arms to protect effectively our borders.
Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Fritz Bafor, says the upgrade in rank will help the job progression for the personnel.
The major issue confronting the service is the ranking system compared to other security services. GIS has the lowest number of ranks, both at the senior and junior officer levels. This situation has resulted in stunted career progression and engendered huge administrative and disciplinary challenges for the service. Ghana has about 3,200 kilometers of land borders, which stretch from the east, west, and north with the Atlantic Ocean to the south. The land borders are of varying topography with several river bodies, lakes, streams, as well as mountains, hills, and marshy terrain dotted along it. This difficult topography, coupled with the spongy and porous nature of border demarcations, may be exploited by criminal networks within the West African sub-region over the years to carry out their activities. The GIS therefore needs legislative and administrative backing to effectively manage these borders, particularly in the wake of civil and military arrest within the West African sub-region. The passage of the Immigration Service Act would strategically position the service to deliver on its mandate and contribute to the maintenance of law and order in the country by ensuring that only legitimate persons are allowed entry, residence, and employment.
The bill received overwhelming support from both sides of the House. Elton Brobe's report for Joy News.
At the commencement of public business.
And many thanks for staying. Now, an Accra Human Rights Court has ordered the reinstatement of the Director of Pharmacy at the Osu Teaching Hospital. The Osu Hospital in June sacked 4 top officials, including the Director of Pharmacy, after a forensic audit into the operations of the pharmacy department of the hospital. In a statement issued by the board of the hospital, the Director of the Pharmacy, Elizabeth Bruce, the manager, Eric Kwekuche, its accountant, Augustina Denchi, and a store's assistants were all sacked. They had been on interdiction since January 2014. Shortly after her interdiction, Elizabeth Bruce proceeded to court to challenge the decision. Describing her interdiction as uncalled for, Bruce instituted civil action on 10th April 2015 against the management of the hospital. It was to get the courts to direct that she resumes her official duties. In a ruling on Thursday, the court ordered that the hospital ensures that Madam Bruce resumes her position. Management of Osu Teaching Hospital has since withdrawn the dismissal letter served to the head of the pharmacy department.
That, well, if you dismiss an employee, she has an action against the establishment pending in court, which has not yet been determined, then it seeks to prejudice the hearing of the matter, and that clearly constitutes contempt of court.
Were there any costs awarded?
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, of course, the inconvenience that were occasioned, the inconvenience and the injury that had been occasioned, Mrs. Elizabeth Bruce, as cost of 2,000 Ghana cedis was awarded. Yes, but the most important thing is that, yes, now she's an employee of the teaching hospital, and the letter purporting to either dismiss or terminate her employment has been withdrawn.
Where does that leave us? Because there was already a challenge to the interdiction case that was ongoing. In the light of today's development, what happened?
It means we can freely continue with the hearing of the action challenging the interdiction. Yes, we contend that interdiction was unlawful. It violates the civil service regulations and what have you, and that action is still pending. Yes, that is what they sought to avoid by terminating her. They thought that by terminating her, it means that she's no more an employee, and it would have put pay to our earlier action challenging the interdiction. But now with this decision, we can freely contest the lawfulness of the interdiction, and I believe that will triumph. So she's an employee for now. That is where it leaves us. Secondly, she's fighting the lawfulness of the interdiction.
That's lawyer for Elizabeth Bruce Godfred Dummy there speaking with Fritz Smith. Now, the Ghana.Video Teaching Hospital has had a troubled first half year. Operations within this period were fraught with frequent breakdown of diagnostic equipment and irregular supply of reagents. These developments, according to the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dr. Joseph Akpalu, negatively impacted healthcare delivery. He made the revelation at a mid-year review of the hospital's performance.
Dr. Palu said diagnostic services dropped from 183,780 over the same period in 2014 to 173,916 this year. Surgical operations reduced by a quarter from 10,663 last year to 8,488 in 2015, with outpatient visits to the polyclinic also recording a marginal decline. But there have been modest improvements in the maternal death rate, from a high of 1,119 deaths per 100,000 live births in 2014 to 1,077 deaths per 100,000 live births this year. Emergency admissions and physiotherapy services also appreciated over the period. The chief executive of CATH said the hospital's dependence on an obsolete plant for oxygen production is too expensive, forcing management to look elsewhere for half of its oxygen needs. In spite of these challenges, the Ghana.Video Teaching Hospital cannot rely on government for support due to constraints on the national budget. Dr. Akpalu, however, says management is aggressively lobbying and seeking partners to acquire an additional CT scan, laboratory, and other equipment for the hospital.
The period under the review has been extremely difficult. The operational environment was wrought by the frequent breakdown of diagnostic equipment and irregular supply of reagents to the hospital by our suppliers, among others. In the face of the severe pressure on the national budget and its impact on the provision of critically needed equipment and facility, management, with the support of the board, has begun aggressive lobbying and partnership drives. Management has intensified its lobbying drive to secure a needed equipment from benevolent organizations and individuals for the provision of critically needed equipment to the hospital under BOT, that is Build, Operate and Transfer Scheme, or outright purchase.
Ohiming Terrier's report for Joy News.
Still on health, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Fred Binka, is looking forward to the Ebola vaccine trial. He says testing the efficacy of a possible drug to fight the deadly disease in UHAS will enrich the university's research capacity. He explains that the various officials and students who would be part of the trial would have the opportunity to build their capacity on clinical trials. Professor Binka was speaking at a matriculation ceremony for the first batch of students admitted to the sandwich programs of the university at Ho in the Volta region.
As we undertake this process, our lecturers will have to rise up, be trained, and develop the capacity to look at all aspects of this work, looking at basic biology, looking at immunology, looking at biochemistry, microbiology, and also looking at the public health aspects. So our social scientists will be there to educate people, they will be there to follow up on patients, and at the end of the day, our statistical team will also have to rise up to the occasion to analyze the data that is produced from these studies. So this is an endeavor to improve and develop the capacity within our staff for research.
Parents of a 12-year-old girl who was sexually abused by a police officer are demanding justice for their child. The officer who allegedly defiled the girl is said to be walking freely, much to the disappointment of the family. With the help of human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Susu, the girl's parents are determined to fight for justice that seems to be slipping away.
That is where
the father of the victim, Mawenyega Kwashi, is not only disappointed with how the police has handled the case so far, but devastated that his close friend, Lance Corporal Emmanuel Kwamina Bartels, sexually abused his little girl. According to the father, he noticed changes in his child in February this year and later discovered she was pregnant. Upon interrogation, the girl revealed the identity of the man responsible for the pregnancy.
She said, "It's my friend, the Lance Corporal Emmanuel Kwamina Bartels. He impregnated her because when I'm not in the house, he used to come there and forcibly sleep with her. So the last time he came to sleep with her is, I think, 21st of December, that I've gone to Volta region to see to my old uncle who was sick and have to give him some attention at the village. So I went and came back, and even that day, the Lance Corporal, came to me in the evening. We sat in my room and we were laughing all together. As a matter of fact, I couldn't take it easy. Before, if it's not law, how I would have dealt with him wouldn't be so easy.
Mr. Kwashi quickly sought help from human rights lawyer Francis Javier Sosu to bring the perpetrator to book. The fight for justice has, however, not been a smooth one. Lawyer Sosu believes the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service is deliberately trying to cover up the case.
It was reported, nothing was done. After a little while, when they even, the information we had that was that he was arrested at a point in time. After 24 hours, he was bailed, and then he went away. And as we speak now, he is not under arrest. He is just a free man walking about. That is completely unacceptable for a person who is an officer of the law to have allegedly, defiled a 12-year-old. So.
Up next is Business News. Neto Namsi is standing by. Please stay.
Time to talk business. My name is Eton Hamsi. Now, a government delegation is set to embark on a fact-finding mission to Nigeria on the company selected to operate the single window scheme at Ghana's ports West Blue. The IT solutions provider is expected to begin running the scheme at the ports from September 1. Some industry players, including destination inspection companies, have kicked against the move, saying the same kind of scheme is being provided by GCNet. But Trade and Industry Minister Dr. Gabra says an inter-agency group will visit Nigeria in 2 weeks' time to do some due diligence on the company.
An inter-ministerial, inter-agency group is being assembled, hopefully to visit Nigeria within the next 2 weeks if all things are ready. It's an inter-agency fact-finding mission, which is intended to visit Nigeria, maybe Lagos, maybe Abuja, depending on which cities the information can be gotten from, with clear terms of reference, which are not necessarily West Blue specific, but to understand what has happened in Nigeria with regards to its customs administration, with regards to how they have moved from their previous destination inspection system to something that is closer to a so-called national single window, and to ask all the relevant agencies, the Ministry of Finance there, the Nigerian Customs, Nigerian freight forwarders and shippers, and other shipping and import-export institutions, their comments and experiences with regards to the transition that has been taking place there. It takes some time to make that full transition, and the role that West Blue may have played in that. So that is an exercise that has been approved by the Office of the Chief of Staff, and a team of officials of Ghana are supposed to travel to Nigeria sometime, I believe, in the next 2 weeks, if all the arrangements can be made on both sides.
Now, imagine having access to your business partners wherever you are. That's the opportunity Airtel Ghana seeks to provide subscribers of the newly launched Airtel Business Solutions package. For as low as 5 Ghana Cedi subscribers to this pack can transact business through phone calls, data, connectivity and satellite. Maxwell Dodd, Director of Airtel Business Ghana, spoke to Joy Business at the launch of Airtel Business Package.
We've simplified our services and solutions into what we call the 3C solutions. So the first C is for communication, from your basic mobile services, be it postpaid, prepaid or hybrid, through to your machine-to-machine communication, all comes under the communication portfolio. And we have the unique One Airtel solution, which is for traveling across Africa, where you pay local rates in any other country that you go to apart from Ghana. The next one is our connectivity solutions, where we connect you to your branches and we connect you to your offices and we connect you to your business partners. I give an example of one of our solutions we have, where a business can receive calls from customers 24/7 without the line being engaged. That is what we offer. So our line is open 24/7 without it ever being engaged. It is through what we call an ISDN solution, and it's on offer as well from our portfolio. We don't sell products, we sell solutions. So you first tell us your communication needs, and then we offer you a tailor-made solution within your budget. From the small business, which we call SOHO, to the SME or small medium business, to the corporate, to the global accounts, we offer solutions that meet everyone's need and everyone's budget within the segment. We have as low as 5 Ghana cedis for what we call the CUG, where we enable customers or we enable corporate staff to talk among themselves for free within a month for just 5 cedis and be able to call other networks as well on that platform.
Many companies tend to grapple with finding the perfect means of selling their products and services. To bridge this gap, marketing communications companies have been connecting businesses to their clients through the power of media. One such company is Barima FCB, a marketing communications company, which has distinguished itself in this through a partnership with Multimedia Group. The media manager, Jenny Tete, speaking to Joy Business as part of Multimedia's 20th anniversary celebration, says they have exceeded the expectations of their clients through multimedia platforms.
Barima FCB is a marketing communications company, and in line with our business, we depend on professional media owners to get our services well implemented without flaws. And I must say, Multimedia Group has over the past 20 years shown such professionalism, dedication and credibility. We call them our partners because they indeed are. Their skill and competence ensures that all our businesses are well executed without flaws, and their customer relation is above reproach. Our partnership with Multimedia Group has been mutually beneficial. Going forward into the next 20 years, we expect nothing but excellent professional working relationship with Multimedia.
We begin sports tonight on a very sad note, and the remains of the late Sir Cecil Jones at Tukwefio will be interred on Friday at the Woodome Cemetery. Wake will be kept tonight at the St. Joseph Anglican Church at the Bosokai, with the final funeral rites at the forecourts of the State House after the burial. And the late Tukwefio, who is arguably one of the nation's most prominent soccer icons, died on May 10 this year after a protracted ailment. Jones is fondly remembered for his extraordinary coaching exploits that led to the conquest of Africa with Accra Hearts of Oak in the year 2000, the CAF Super Cup in the year 2001, and the CAF Confederations Cup in 2004, as well as several domestic trophies. He also coached the senior national team, the national under-23 team, and the under-17, as well as such clubs, including Ashanti Gold, Accra Great Olympics, Liberty Professionals, and Okwe United.
Subotex Ghana Limited has launched its new MultiTV digital receiver in the Volta Regional Capital Ho. The new digital receiver, dubbed MTV 1722, is designed to have a high-definition video display, crystal clear sound and enhanced navigation through the channels.
Speaking at the launch, a member of MultiTV's distribution team, William Addison, said the new receiver is designed with a focus on delivering new experiences and features to consumers at an affordable price.
Somotes is one of the accredited MultiTV distributors in Ghana. We have strong and we have syndicated, and Somotes is one of them. For some time now, their boxes are not in the market, but currently they have brought a new one and we are relaunching them through Creative Ventures in Ho. So this is the first launching. I'm sure we'll come to Accra to also do a bigger one also in Accra.
CEO of Creative Ventures, MultiTV's sole distributor in the Volta region, Cephas Kwashi, said the new receiver would address consumers' demand for a device that would allow them enjoy uninterrupted services.
One of the features that this one has is that it has a video recorder that will enable you to record any program you like and come back and watch later. This decoder that we are launching today has an ability to explore over 200 channels, as you can see. And this very decoder is very portable and very sleeky.
The new portable receiver has a CD case encryption, multiple source inputs, including a USB port, RF and HD inputs, among others. The product is available at the main office of Creative Ventures, located opposite the Ho main lorry station, and at all outlets across the Volta region. Fred Kwame Asare's report for Joy News.
Let's do some international news now, and Kenya's Interior Minister has called on the United States news channel CNN to apologize for calling East Africa a, quote, hotbed of terror, ahead of President Barack Obama's visit on Friday. At a news conference, Joseph Nkaiseri said CNN could make an apology if it was civilized enough. The hashtag Someone Tell CNN is trending worldwide as Kenyans condemn CNN, which is not yet commented. The news outlet's report focused on the threat posed by the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab group. It reported that Mr. Obama was not just heading to his father's homeland, but to a region that's a hotbed of terror. South African Parliamentary Committee has found that work on President Jacob Zuma's private home was not worth the $23 million of taxpayers' money. A visit to the residence in Nkandla also revealed that the upgrades suffered from poor workmanship, according to the members of parliament. The government has said the refurbishment was for security reasons, but the 2014 corruption investigation said the president benefited unduly from state money. In a more than 400-page report, Public Protector Thuli Madonsela accused Mr. Zuma of unethical conduct. Her report found that a pool, chicken run, cow enclosure and amphitheater had also been included in the controversial upgrades. She recommended that the president repay some of the money. That's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Gifty and I'll appear to stay for PM Express. Many thanks for your time.
This is Joy News Prime.